Hello dear students of class 10th, welcome to Polity class. I hope all of you are fit and fine. Students, in this video, I shall be continuing with the first chapter of Polity, that is power sharing. Students, in the previous video, I was explaining you about the accommodative steps taken by the leaders of Belgium. That means what steps were taken in order to accommodate diversity in Belgium, in which I explained you the first two steps. The first step was amendments were made in the constitution of Belgium, and not one time, that also 4 times. Yes, 4 times amendments were made in the constitution of Belgium. Now why it was made? Amendments were made so that the country could accommodate diversity, so that the rights, the interests of both the communities, the Dutch as well as the French speaking community, could be saved, so that they could enjoy their freedom, so that they could enjoy their right. So that is why, so that they could enjoy their rights. So that is why amendments were made in the constitution of Belgium. So this was the first step. Now the second step. Second step was equal number of ministers of both Dutch speaking community and French speaking community in the central government. Yes, equal number of ministers were there. Why equal number of ministers were there? So that no single community could take decisions unilaterally, so that no single community could dominate the other community. So that is why equal number of ministers of both the communities were appointed or were made in the central government. So this was the second step. Now let's come to the third step, as you can see on the screen. So the third step was, many powers of central government, they have been given to the state government of the 2 regions of the country. And what were the 2 regions? The 2 regions were Wallonia region and Flemish regions. So this means that not only in the central government ministers were equal, but power was also given, authority was also given to the state. That means no region was neglected, no region was suppressed. Every region was given rights, every region, every level of government was given power. See, number of ministers in the central government was definitely equal, but in the state government also people were given, communities were given equal rights. So this shows that power sharing was very properly, in a sequential manner, it was done in Belgium. That means power was not only restricted or concentrated to the central government, but power was also given to the state government. That means all levels of government had power. So I hope that the third point is clear to everybody. Now let's come to the fourth step, or the fourth point. So the fourth step is regarding Brussels. Yes, the capital of Belgium. The capital of Belgium is Brussels. So in Brussels, what happened? Brussels had a separate government. Yeah, Brussels had a separate government in which both the communities had equal representation. See, in Brussels, the situation was different than that of the country. In Brussels, who were in majority? The French speaking community were in majority and the Dutch speaking were in minority. The French were 80% and the Dutch were 20%. So in Brussels also, what happened? Power was given to both the French speaking community as well as the Dutch speaking community. They had equal representation in the capital also. See students, if I talk about the country, then in the country who were in majority? The Dutch speaking people were in majority. But even though they were in majority, they agreed to share power with the minorities. That means the French speaking people. They agreed that okay, we will share power, we will share our power, our authority with the minorities also in the capital, in the country. So that is why in the capital, that means in Brussels, the situation was just opposite. That means the French were in majority and the Dutch were in minority. So that is why in the capital, that means in Brussels, the French speaking community agreed to share power with the minorities, that means the Dutch speaking community. So everything was going in a peaceful and harmonious manner. So power was shared in a proper and sequential manner. So this way power sharing was done in Belgium, or these steps were taken in order to accommodate diversity in Belgium. Now students, let's come to the fifth point. So the fifth point is, see, apart from the central and state government, there was one more type of government, or the third kind of government, and the name of that government was community government. Now what is this community government? See, community government is elected by people belonging to one language group. Yes, please remember that community government is elected by the people belonging to one language community. See, for example, the Dutch, French and German speaking, they will elect a government of their community, no matter where they live, no matter in which area, in which region they live. The Dutch may be living in Wallonia as well as in Flemish region. So even though they are living in any region, so they will elect their own government, that their own community government. So the French speaking people will have their own community government, the Dutch speaking people will have their own community government, the Germans will have their own community government. So it is a government that is elected by the people belonging to one language community, irrespective of the area, irrespective of the region they live. So I hope that this is clear to everybody. So students, I hope community government or the concept of community government is clear to everybody. Now the question is that why this type of government is required? What is the need to form this type of government? So let me tell you that this government or this type of government has a very important role to play. See, this government has the power regarding cultural, educational and language related issues of their specific community. See, if for example, if Dutch speaking community have their own issues, they have some conflict, then that issue or that matter will directly go to the community government of Dutch speaking people. So as see, if Dutch speaking or any other community is having some issue or having some problem, so the government of that community will be able to handle that situation well, because they know the matters related to their community or their language. So that is why this type of government is really very important. The role of such government is really very important. And you know, these decisions means the decisions related to cultural, educational and language issues, they are not taken by central or state government, but they are taken by the community government. So I hope that this concept is clear to everybody. Now students, I have explained you all the accommodative steps taken by the leaders of Belgium, and let me tell you that all these steps, they are called as accommodation model in Belgium. But you know, these steps or this model, accommodation model, this looks very complicated, this seems very complicated, and in reality it is complicated, because power is given to state, because power is given to the central government, the state government as well as the community government, and that also equal representation or equal power is given to both the communities, the minorities as well as the majority. So this is actually, this model is in reality a complex or complicated model, I would say. But you know, even though this model seems to be very complicated, but you know, these arrangements or this model, they have worked so well so far. You know, they have worked so well that you know, these arrangements, they have helped in not converting differences into division. Definitely differences were there in Belgium. There were two communities, or I would say a third community was also there, that means the German community, but that was very less. So these arrangements or this model, this model has helped in not converting the differences into division. This model has helped to avoid civil war or civil strife between the two communities and a possible division of country on linguistic lines. If this model would not have been adopted, then the country would have been divided. There would be war, civil war, and division everywhere. But because of this model, because of the accommodative steps taken by the leaders of Belgium, things have worked well so far. So that is why, even though this model seems to be very complicated, and it is actually very complicated, but still it has worked very well so far. So that is why it is a successful model. I would say it is a successful model adopted by the leaders of Belgium. So I hope that till here points are clear to everybody. Now students, let me tell you that when many countries of Europe, when they came together to form the European Union, then Brussels, the capital of Belgium, Brussels, it was chosen as its headquarter. Please remember that the headquarter of European Union is Brussels. So Brussels was chosen as the headquarter of European Union. So I hope till here points are clear. Now students, I'll be explaining you the next topic. Let's come to the next topic, and our next topic is, why is power sharing desirable, or why power sharing is important. I hope that you must have understood that why power sharing is important. I have explained you about Belgium, about the scenario of Belgium, as well as about the scenario of Sri Lanka. In Belgium, power was shared. It was shared equally. Equal opportunities were given to both the communities. But in Sri Lanka, power was not shared. Power was accumulated. Power was concentrated in few hands. As a result of which, civil war broke out in Sri Lanka, and it led to division. Diversity led to division in Sri Lanka. But if I talk about Belgium, then diversity did not lead to division, rather accommodation. People lived in harmony and peace. There was harmony everywhere. But the situation was totally different in Sri Lanka. So it depends upon the leaders that how they choose to rule. Either they want a monarchical form. See, democracy was there in both the countries, in Sri Lanka also and in Belgium also. But democracy was hollow in Sri Lanka because power was concentrated in few hands and they destroyed everything. The people who had power in Sri Lanka, they had destroyed everything. The minorities were not given any rights. They were deprived of their rights, and they were actually suppressed. So that is why it led to civil war. But if I talk about Belgium, then the situation was very much different in Belgium. Everything was going in a smooth and proper manner. So students, as the question says, or as the topic says, why is power sharing desirable? So I'll give you two reasons why power sharing is desirable. The first is prudential reasons, and the second is moral reason that why power sharing is desirable. So first, let's come to prudential reasons. What is the meaning of prudential? See, prudential means practical wisdom, or it means involving or showing care or forethought. That refers to prudential. So first I'll tell you that why or how power sharing is important in the first aspect, that means in the prudential aspect. See, power sharing is beneficial, or it is important because it helps to reduce the possibility of conflict between social groups. Definitely, if power is shared, it will reduce the possibility, it will restrict the possibility of conflict or of war between social groups. So that is why power sharing is important. See, in case of Sri Lanka, power was not shared, which led to civil war. In case of Belgium, power was shared in a proper and efficient manner. So that is why conflict was not there. Everything was going in a smooth and proper manner. So that is why power sharing is important according to the prudential reason. Now if I talk about moral reason, see, if I talk morally, then power sharing is the essence of democracy. Democracy was definitely there, so power sharing is the essence, I would say, or it is the very spirit of democracy, one of the most important features of democracy. See, Sri Lanka is a democratic country, and that time also it was a democratic country, but in reality democracy was not practiced in Sri Lanka. It was hollow. It was a hollow democracy because no power was given to the minorities. They were not given any opportunities. Nothing was there. Only it was concentrated in few hands. So that is why democracy was not practiced in real terms. See, let me give you an example from your home. Suppose you have two younger siblings. Okay. You are the eldest, so power is in your hands. You will say, no, I will not give anybody anything. You have to be very strict. You are very strict. You are very disciplined. You are not allowing your siblings to do anything. So that means the siblings, that they will not be happy. They will not at all be happy with your behavior. That means you are doing the same thing as Sri Lankan leaders did. But the second case, that means the case of Belgium, if you say that, okay, you are my siblings, I'll help you out, you are free to share anything, I'll give you chocolates, I'll give you everything whatever you require. So in that case your siblings will be really very happy, and everything will go in a peaceful manner in your home. So that is why power sharing is very important. Power sharing is the essence of democracy, or I would say power sharing is the essence of happiness. If you are ruling, so you need to share. Sharing is caring. So that is why power sharing is very important. So students, I hope till here points are clear to everybody. In the next video, I'll be explaining in detail about the prudential reasons and the moral reasons of power sharing. Till then, thank you so much and stay safe.